Hey everyone, welcome back to the video, or a video of mine. I haven't really made a script, so there probably is just gonna be just me talking about the character I'm drawing at the moment. This first character is kind of like a cowboyish character. That's why most of his clothes are like brown, orange, and yellow based. Mostly so he could match his brother Rest, which is mostly orange. So there are some details in the face that I didn't quite get to at the time. I was really stressed out about getting this on time or getting this out in an orderly fashion because I've been leaving you guys hanging for months and months. So there will probably be a revamped version of at least the face. And another thing, I didn't exactly know what the eyes look like because it's hidden behind his hair. In his original design, I didn't exactly draw his eyes and it didn't really look the way I wanted it to. Sort of just skipped over them. I entirely forgot that I didn't do the mouth in the first place, so I just kind of moved on. Actually, surprisingly a lot of things that I forgot about his design, and I kind of just drew him because I had to. In his original design, he was supposed to have blue freckles, a pronounced lip, and a more square, animalistic type nose. I said I didn't get to it, so. Mouth was supposed to be like Aurora's, actually. That sketch comes towards the end, though. To make it clear that I draw my black characters with a darker top lip, I think it's mostly a design choice I saw from one artist and I just stole it. First couple minutes, this program I was using kept shutting down, so I had to switch from one program to another, but that gets fixed later on. There will be a brief cut to a different program I was using, but it doesn't really happen as much in the video, so I say just ignore it because I'm going to be using the same program the entire rest of the way. For his background, he's mostly a authority figure to Rust. That overprotective, chill brother that seems intimidating at first, but once you get to know him, he's actually really sweet. Though, he may be intimidating, but he will not hesitate to defend his brother at any given moment. There will be more lore on Rust in the second part of this video that I will record later, and because I haven't drawn the characters yet. I actually won't be talking about Rust in this video, but I will be talking about Rust when I actually draw him in the next video. Coming up, because I switched programs, I get really frustrated because I had to redraw the entire sketch again. So I just erased an entire part of the sketch that I just hated. Sometimes you have to start over in order to create something that you really like later on. I think it's a very important skill as an artist to have the heart to delete your art in order to progress the amount of work that goes into it. Sketch or a drawing that's not turning out the way you want it to, then you can just like start over entirely, and sometimes it comes out better. And that's my tip for a young artist. Because the program kept crashing, I had to sit here for at least 5 minutes to figure out the entire sketch again, just to go back to the sketch I already had. So this entire part is basically useless. Didn't want to cut out this part because the authenticity of the full speed art, line art, sketch thing it's important for me to show everything. Because I know some people glaze my art sometimes because I only show the good art pieces that I really like. I really struggled with the poses, and I didn't really like the pose in the end. I might revamp it later, but a lot of the sketches that I did in this video I didn't like, and I had to keep adjusting to make it so I like it more. When it comes to drawing, I basically have no depth of perception or depth of field. So everything would just be off, or the proportions would be wrong, or like some things would be bigger, some things would be smaller. That's why I really like digital art, because I get to move it around without having a lot of unnecessary sketch lines on the paper forever. I could also adjust the colors whenever I need to, so nothing is really permanent. I was trying to figure out which colors I like the best, whether I wanted to add brown or have like a dark maroon to him, because I already have a lot of like red based characters. His brother is mostly orange with a bit of red. I wanted him to be mostly brown originally, but I think it would be better if it was red or like an orange to match his brother, but I obviously didn't want them to be too similar to each other, or else they wouldn't match, but I just didn't want them to be too similar. I want them to both have unique designs, with also having the realization that they actually are related, because he is a lot older and he doesn't have a lot of things that his younger brothers has. We'll be talking a lot about the brother's side in the second part. I won't get into it right now, but let's just say there's a lot of things that his younger brother has that he doesn't has, that he probably grew out of. Here I am just testing out skin colors, because the first sketch I ever did with him was on paper, and I never do skin colors on paper. So I was figuring out how light or dark I needed the skin to be in order to clash with the hair. And I'm not even really sure I want to keep the burgundy red. Might have to change the hair back to brown later, but then again, I don't want it clashing with his skin color. So I might be keeping it, or I might be changing it. I haven't really decided yet. It was just like one of the prototypes of his character. There are also a lot of other characters that I revamped too. Those will most likely be in the part 2 of this video. Most of my hours come from working on the face, because I don't know if it takes me that long to work on the body, but I think it takes me like 30 minutes to usually work out the base colors. Again, I don't really draw a lot of clothes usually. I sort of just only do headshots, and that's where my character concepts come from. And then I go to Gacha Life, I know, to get all my clothes for my characters, because I can't really think of designs that work well just like off the top of my head. So a lot of the drawings that are in this video are based off a Gacha Life thing. The Gacha Life thing, you know. And I'm not sure if using Gacha Life is cringe, but I use it as like a tool more than an actual like thing to shoot videos. I am currently still making a comic for these characters, so if you want to see that, let me know, I guess. I'll probably like post it on like my community tab or something, or maybe I'll make a website. I don't know. I gotta complete the first chapter, which is the pilot, which I haven't gotten to yet. I have a couple panels of it, but I don't have a complete full comic first episode. And I also do not have a poster to make said comic on Webtoon. And right here, I'm just filling out the flat colors and trying to figure out how the lines work. For this particular comic and this art style, I want to make it so the line art is just like the darker colors of the surrounding, mostly shaded area. You can see it very well in this particular thing, but there are definitely other better examples of this in later sketches. I think this is not my favorite sketch at the moment. Not the happiest with the sketch. I think the legs could use a little bit of work later, but I don't think it's necessarily that bad. There aren't any like really dark like black line art because that's not the design I'm really going for. I want this comic to have like a bubbly sort of vibe to it, because in the beginning of my comic it's kind of gloomy because it's in a different world. The main character comes from the darker, more desaturated world. I will talk about Ivan later in the part 2 because I don't want to talk about him while I'm sketching this character right now. But I did make an animation on my shorts page, so you can, if you want to see him, then he's there in the little short. I think it sets up a good, like, ominous vibe and mystery to the world. Like, who is this other character? Like where are they? And who are these characters? And what do they want? What does this main villain want with our main character? What happened to this other character that's in the missing poster at the end? Little spoiler there. It's not really a spoiler if you looked at it already or if you go check it out. I highly employ you to do that because I will be posting more animations later. I'm very excited for those. Decided which animations I'm gonna do, but I will be doing more because I think the end products are really fun. Now you can see me struggling with the arm pose because I don't know how long the arms are supposed to be and how they're spaced out. I did pretty well with spacing out where the chest, arms, and legs are relative to his head. This is a pretty good attempt for a first try. As the video goes on, it gets a little scraggier, if that's even a word. I struggle a lot more often because I've been drawing for like 4 hours plus and editing for this entire day and night. It's almost, at the current time, it's like almost 3 a.m. right now. I am trying my best to sound all YouTuber-y right now because I want to make entertaining videos for you all. But I will rest and I'll make sure I don't burn myself out before I get this video out. This video will probably be edited from the 12th to the 15th. I'll try to get this video in soon, or like relatively soon. I don't have a lot of time left, to be honest. I'm 14 minutes into an hour-long video, so you know it's gonna take a while, but it'll be out. I promise. Life also helped me shade these characters, so a lot of the darker lines are desaturated and hue shifted. I think that's what really gives these characters a good pop to them. I also made the colors contrast really high against the main character so that he stands out. I also want to give these characters their own unique color in order to show that they all have one consecutive theme. I think his color scheme is relatively simple. Feel free to make fan art with these characters. Over times people have drawn my characters for my friends or other artists I knew. Here I was struggling with the leg for the longest time. And then when I tried moving it, the line art and the whole body came with, but not the hair. And so I had to make sure I merged the layers in order for me to set it to the side and work on the next one. I gave him this cute little bandana thing on the side. This was just like a free-handed thing that I just did. And there's not a lot of customization entirely that can go on in Gacha Life. But I do get fun little ideas out of clothes doing this. Oh, there was a patch of red on his clothes and like little music things on it. And I wasn't gonna add the music parts of it, but I did add a little bandana as a nod to that part on his undershirt. Then here I immediately start working on Amber. She's actually one of my favorite characters to draw, as she has a lot of fun colors to her. I think I always struggle with figuring out where the head's supposed to be and where the shoulders are supposed to be relative to the body. Right here is where I worked out where I want the sleeves to be. And then here, I'm looking for a reference. There it is. And then I put it off to the side, and then I realize I can't color pick any of it because all of the colors are slightly desaturated because I'm recording, and everything that I'm not recording makes everything go desaturated. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've done this. So I had to go on my phone and color pick it by hand, trying to match my colors from the phone to my tablet display. And so that was really frustrating for me, especially during this part. Thankfully, I didn't make the same mistake with the next drawing I did. And Amber, she's really like the dramatic one. I think she gets really heated when emotions are involved. When any of her friends are in danger, she wants to step in and say something. The type of person that will always back up her friends and anybody who's getting treated unfairly. It's usually the one who loses her cool first out of all of the main characters. Her theme to be yellow, but I also added orange and reds to make the yellow really pop. I think it's mostly just like reds though. Very nice shade of red. This shade of red's actually one of my favorites to work with. I gave her heterochromia. One of her eyes is like this nice red color, and the other eye is sort of this orange. Try not to put as much effort into the face as I usually do. A lot more detail in the reference than there is in the actual drawing, I think, because I didn't want to spend too much time because I have 2 videos to get out. I wanted to make all the characters in one video, but I don't think that's possible because the video would be too long. The fact that I just ran out of energy after the 3rd drawing, so. And I try not to burn myself out too quickly, especially when I'm making videos like this. Hair might be slightly off model because I was trying to work as quickly as I could. I'm probably not going to have as much time working on projects like this in college, so I have to work quickly relatively to the assignments that I would get. That's what I assume that's going to happen. Hopefully they give me enough time to actually work on the projects, or else I won't get anything done. Right now it's in its ugly phase of drawing because I started with I usually try to start with the yellow, but this time I started off with the dark so I don't have to draw with the yellow and then draw line art over the yellow. Started straight up with the line art. I quickly shade the hair with a like 25% opacity in order to get that nice shade of orange. Hair is one of my favorites to draw because it reminds me of a sunset in like a Walmart parking lot. particular drawing, I drew her sad. And her usual personality is kind of like pressed about everything. So her main concept was being like a hothead. Tried my best. One little tidbit of information when I was editing, I tried to match the songs to the character as it switches over. First theme would be like rock and angry and sad music. Well, maybe a little bit of classical in there. Rust's brother would mostly have country type songs and some slow-paced ones. Aurora has mostly happy or uplifting music, which is my favorite. And then here I tried my best to make sure the eyes look right because they kind of looked wonky, and you see me moving them around a little bit, testing out whether I should add the little line under it, the little line indication of like eye bags, sort of. I wouldn't call it eye bags for her because I draw eye bags very differently. It would just be the underline of the eye. Hopefully not all of the characters have very similar hair. I hope they are distinguishable from each other. Hope I don't have same hair syndrome or anything like that. Let me know if I do, because I'm actually not sure. I will put them side by side at the end of the video. All designs are final besides Rust's brother. They will be coming later in the story, in like at least chapter 5 or episode 5 of the comic. Too worried about him yet because I haven't really thought too much about his character as of late. I think I really succeeded with the hair, and I really like how it turned out. If some things could be changed around a little bit, I like how the shading ended up being. Sometimes I look at her design and I'm looking at it right now, and I'm just kind of questioning whether the eye should be slightly different because the orange eye sort of looks brighter than it should be at the moment. I don't know if if I fix it or I think I might, but the red eye looks a lot darker at the top than the orange. And the orange at the top. But I think there is some charm in having that to be a key difference in both of her eyes. I genuinely think that might be true for some people with heterochromia. But I haven't really done my research on it, so I wouldn't really know how that is supposed to work medically, but genuinely think heterochromia is really pretty. And I don't know if I'll represent it well, but these are fictional characters, and red and orange aren't exactly natural colors, nor is the hair supposed to be accurate compared to actual real life people, because real life people don't have naturally very brightly colored hair, besides, gingers or whatnot. I had a sort of difficult time figuring out her outfit and the colors because I didn't want her outfit to be too similar to the other characters' outfits. I want all of these characters to have one central color. Hers is yellow. I don't know if that's obvious by her shirt, but And she does look sort of young, and I didn't really know what age to make her, because I wanted to ship her with a different character in the part 2, and I think they're kind of cute because they have like complementary colors going on. And he sort of looks older than she is, but I might just make them the same age. Or like one's gonna be 1 year older, one's gonna just be one year younger than them. And they're gonna be around the same age, but I wanna either make them both adults or both minors, because I can't have those conflicting because that's weird. I think right here is where it starts to get rocky, because I have to start working on the waist and below. I do really like how the sleeves turned out. I think it's really pretty, and the hue shift really makes the whole drawing come together. And you wouldn't really tell that the orange on the sleeve for the line art is like more of a red. And right here I try to figure out how the little waistband for her skirt is going to go. I noticed immediately that the red and the orange clash with each other, so I had to figure out how that worked out. But I just made the bottom of the sleeve of the dress first, and then I saw what I could do with the proportions and whatnot. I think working out the colors comes later, because right now I had to move it in order to work on the pants and below. I really love the colors of this drawing, and right here I had to add a green background so I can work on the white pants. White is a good even color to add to some of my characters. I think 2 of my characters have white pants, but they end up looking like purple or whatever the main color is for that character. I think shading white is all in the undertones and how you shade the side or wherever the shadow is. I knew how to draw the skirt because I had a reference by my side, and I actually understood how the folds work, and it actually ended up looking really good. I think the shapes were relatively easy for the pants, but then I struggle with trying to figure out how to line art it. And I know I probably should have done the same thing for the pants in the next drawing, but I didn't end up doing that. I kind of just winged it. Again, these pants were really difficult regardless, because I have no sense of depth perception, and when I'm locked in on a specific drawing, I kind of just zero out in that area and don't think about the rest of the drawing, so it ends up looking weird. Right here, when I zoom out, I realize the proportions are really wrong, and the pants look too big, and the skirt is really big compared to the head and the chest, and it just looks really wonky. I tried my best to fix it multiple times. I think I ended up just compromising at the end. It sort of looked like her torso was too tall, because she's supposed to be like a short character. I don't think most of these characters that are be lined up at the end will be to scale, but I will try my best to make sure that they have the same heights, and they will have their names attached to them. This is actually something I didn't do. I didn't set up the full lineup yet, so I actually don't know what it looks like yet. Right around here, I had to move around the head and stuff in order to like actually make the collar and the head connect to the body. It was actually really difficult to figure that out. I probably should have figured that out when I made the actual clothes on her. That was like a big leap I had to get over. I also gave her like a little tie, because I thought giving my female characters like a tie would be adorable. I, for one, didn't really want to draw like a full dress because they're gonna be fighting in combat, and I want to make sure they're comfortable enough to be able to fight in it. So I just gave her like a half cut skirt, so she's able to fight, and I'm thinking that she has like different pockets and different layers of her skirt where she can hide weapons or something, or like just like stuff that she can defend herself with. Maybe she has something in her socks or like something in those bunched up pants somewhere, like a hidden dagger or something. I know she would be prepared to fight anybody and anyone for saying anything to any one of her friends. I think she really wants to be like muscle for the group, but she's very tiny and she can't really do much. She's sort of like a barking chihuahua that doesn't really have a lot of bite or force. And I think she would want to, her whole arc would be learning how to fight and defend her friends, because her friends are really important to her. She just really wants to be prepared when it comes to like facing off the main antagonist. Next character is Aurora Byrne, and I'm not sure if I want to make her like a love interest with the main character or not. I thought about it, but I might not end up doing anything with it. I'd just be a companion to him. But yeah, she's very kind. She's like the embodiment of joy in this series. Probably one of the happiest characters in the series. Bubbly personality that she has. I sort of tried to make her hair similar to Amber's, the shading being darker and a different hue, so her main hair color is pink and the darker parts of her hair are red. Her main color scheme is mostly pink, a bit of blue accents. It took me a long time to figure out her final design. I drew her in my last video, but she got a redesign again, and so now she does have vitiligo, and I really wanted to make sure that she did have vitiligo because I really love that about her. And I've never really drawn characters with multiple skin colors because it was always really hard to shade their blush, like the blush under their eyes and their nose, and I couldn't figure out how the skin tones would match and the blush would match blended together. So I figured it out and how to do it. It might not be as accurate, but I want to keep it as simple as possible when it comes to designing her. Her eyes are really pretty, I think. It has like a nice green glow at the bottom, with her eyes mainly being like this dark maroon red. I tried to give her like a fun little pose. You saw, like, she saw you from a distance. She's like, hey. Sorry if my voice is a lot deeper than it was. I've been singing a lot, and so I've been using my chest voice a lot more often, and my voice is kind of hoarse. Talking and singing a lot would do that to you, I guess. Start the base of her eyes as like the main color being red, and then I add the green shade later on. Right here I was working on the mouth, and I sometimes struggle with drawing mouths. And then once I figured it out, I wanted to give her like a little gap tooth on the side, because I think that's just a signature with most of my characters. I know a few other of my characters in this series have a gap tooth, and I think gap tooths are actually really cute. I know I have a gap tooth, but it's not that noticeable, but it's just a little gap tooth in my two front teeth. Most of my drawings start off having like an ugly phase, so that's why I was kind of hesitant about posting my full speed draws. I haven't really posted a speed draw before. This is like my first one. Actually, I was pretty excited about posting it because I've never posted a speed draw before, and I was really looking forward to being one of those creators who posted their speed draws and just yapped the entire time. Hopefully I can be one of those YouTubers that either you put in the background or listen to full time. You know, sometimes I put on videos to put in the background where it's just like a person talking most of the time, and I probably will have a couple breaks in between later on in the video, because I'm starting to run out of things to talk about with these characters. But yeah. I'm really excited about finally posting after 2 months. I know things have been kind of rough for me, trying to get everything settled together in my life. I won't get into it too much, but I think I'm mostly going to stick to the topic about art and all the stuff I've been getting into recently. I actually had a really difficult time figuring out whether I wanted her to have long hair or not, 'cause I know a lot of my characters just like have short hair. For one, that it's really hard to maintain in a comic, and I have to think about the mechanics of how the hair flows. Again, I was really hesitant about giving my female characters long hair, so I sort of compromised by giving her a little braid, so she kind of has this little rat tail, and I think it's super cute. I didn't want to have like a stereotypical female main character in the comics I make. In some circumstances, I think stereotypicalizing a character can work. It all depends on how you portray that character and write them. I know some characters look or sound like this specific stereotype, but then they end up switching and flipping these other characters, and having the opposite effect of what you would expect a character to look or sound like or act like. Find that sometimes the switcheroo of these two character types is fun most of the time. Example, in Love and Deep Space, which I've been playing recently, and I don't really care if anybody says anything about that game. I play it for the story. It has a pretty good story, to be honest. The way they flipped Silas and Caleb to be opposites of each other, but also like reflections of each other, is really cool. Didn't really like Caleb as a controlling character, because it's more depending on what kind of character you like in fiction. Some people would like just to be stay at home and be taken care of, as it were. But me personally, I like having freedom. I like doing stuff. I like going out. He mainly tries to protect the main character by saying we aren't really ready to face out the world and that we are gonna get hurt. Silas, on the other hand, lets us deliberately have our freedom. Story, Silas is he's protective, but he's not necessarily overprotective. Silas can be overprotective, but I wouldn't say it's as extreme as when Caleb does it. Silas would teach you things. He would teach you how to do certain things if you didn't know how to do it. He'd teach you how to protect yourself. He would teach you how to do all this, and not strictly shelter you from the outside world or the dangers or literally anything. I think most people that agree that Caleb is a red flag, especially in real life. I think most people don't really bat an eye because he's not a real person. There are some people who do believe that in real life, but those people are insane because they have to realize that people are their own person. He deserves to do their own thing at some point. This is right here where I decided to give her a choker because I think she's very into fashion and would love to have that kind of thing. I can see mainly her character wearing a lot of colorful stuff. And almost every outfit she wears a choker, so. There is this app game on my VR headset that lets me draw in like 3D spaces, and I think that's really cool, and I really wanted to figure out how to use that program because I think it's just like cool to draw in 3D regardless. I think it's gonna be really entertaining figuring out how to draw in 3D because I've never done it before. I recently figured out that there are like shapes I can use as guidelines in order for me to then draw on it. It's also a flat version, so I can draw 2D if I so wanted to. I think that'd be a really useful tool for me. because I usually draw in 2D anyway. I think it would help me know how buildings are structured and basically how anything in real life is structured, because I can just probably copy it from real life to in art form. Her jacket is not exactly the way I envisioned it to be, but it's good to show her, like, just like her outfit overall. I haven't really drawn people with chests in general. I usually just draw them flat because I never really focus on it that much, because I never had that interest of drawing that anatomy. I think it's mostly because I've been uncomfortable in my body, and so I never really felt comfortable drawing that. Even for anatomy purposes, I know I probably would have to draw anatomy regardless for like anything. Here I start off with like this gray, and I try to figure out which undertone I want to use for the pants. Also start working on the bow, or whatever you call that little waistband that she wears. And then I start drawing the actual ribbon. I'm just gonna call it a ribbon. A ribbon on the side that's hooked to the waistband. And I want to say it's just like either just like a scarf or like a cardigan type thing, or like something that's small that you could accessorize with. I want to say it's gonna be up for interpretation, or however people draw it or whatever, but you know, probably figure it out later in the story, most likely. And here I started figuring out where to put the white and figure out where the shading's going. I know the purple kind of looks desaturated, but I think that's mostly because of the shadow and the way shadows work, and they're mostly dark. You know, some shadows can be just like light, shifted light, or like the shifted hue of the original color and made to look like it's like sort of sun shining on it. And I like that a lot when I'm drawing, especially these characters. I haven't really experimented with shading that much until I started drawing these characters. I was really going for a specific style with these characters, and I've done a lot more experimenting than I usually do for regular drawings, and especially paper drawings. And paper specifically, I spend a lot of time trying to get the line art right and then coloring it. Sometimes I don't end up getting to the coloring part because the line art takes so much of my time, and usually I hit around the 3 to 4 hour mark. Sometimes I don't usually track my hours, especially on paper. Since I started recording these drawings, I've realized that most of these drawings take up to like an hour or 2. I spent a collective of 4 hours on each of these drawings, I've realized. And then I had to figure out the line art for the arm because I thought it didn't really look that well, or her arm looked too skinny or something. So I had to figure out a way to make that look right too. And then right here I saw that the bow was sort of flat, so then I went and made it floofier, you would say. And I think it's really adorable the way I drew it. Then I sort of zoom out and figure out how the feet are gonna look, because I didn't draw feet for like the first drawing. I kind of just left it the way it was. When I took the drawing, because I was drawing from the bottom of the canvas, I just took it and I kind of just moved it up and didn't feel like drawing the feet at all. Or like you would call them shoes that they would be wearing. They're all wearing shoes. I think everybody except for Amber, I think she's just wearing socks. I actually have no idea if she's wearing shoes or not. I haven't figured that out. And then I was like, it kind of looks sort of weird with my style. So I had to have a couple of glances of how the feet looked. And then I took a break from it, trying to figure out if I wanted to draw the hands, because I was like, oh yeah, let's go try that. That didn't really work out. It kind of just looks like a blob, and I usually try to think of hands as like it should be the size or like smaller than the half of the head at least. Or like half the size of like, or like the same size as the cheek, which when I was looking at it from the hand to the cheek, I was like, that's her entire face is being covered. So I didn't really mess with it until later. I think I may have left it there too. And then I realized what I was doing wrong with the feet, because again, I was going off of how Gacha Life has their feet, and they don't really have shoes. So I was just figuring out what kind of shoes I was supposed to be drawing. So, and I realized they were like little platforms. So I might do a drawing of shoes, like a shoe study, so I can figure out what I'm actually doing with shoes, because I actually have never drawn a shoe in my life. And then here I'm just sort of making my final adjustments, making sure that she looks right for her size or her height, and the pants is all lined right, and the shoes are lined right, and the proportions are look good enough, because they're never gonna look perfect. That's basically it for her, and I actually like how she turned out quite a bit. I like how all of them turned out. I think they're all very cute. Apologies if I say things multiple times or if the tone of my voice changes throughout the video. I just edited this across multiple days, so little disclaimer. In the end, I really like how they turned out. I think Amber and Aurora would hang out, but not necessarily our unnamed character. Let me know what to name him, because I really don't know. But yeah,
And that's it for this video.
So this is how it all turned out. I'm looking forward to see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!